Arriving at the throne room, Han saw that Helania and Queen were waiting for him. The two of them looked to be prepared and ready to face whatever the world threw at them. Considering his ability, they didn't need to bring the general supplies when traveling around the world, like back on Earth. He remembered when he'd go camping with friends, the amount of time and preparation that was needed getting to the site and getting everything ready when they arrived. Technically, Han knew that he could just come back in his chambers if he wanted when he needed to rest, but that didn't feel like a fun idea. Maybe if he became bored with rucking it, he could just teleport himself back and enjoy his bed. Thinking about his bed brought about thoughts of cuddling with Helania, Queen, or both. This was probably what was different about the things he had read or watched versus being in an actual environment. Han never understood why the main characters would hold themselves back and act all wishy-washy when it came to relationships. If they were OP, they should just enjoy all the benefits that came along with it, instead of restraining themselves. He knew that if he asked any of his creations to cuddle with him, they would be ecstatic and feel blissful at the opportunity. "Master, we are ready to depart at your command," Helania informed him as he neared her. Standing next to her, Queen looked excited at the prospect of traveling with him. Chuckling at Queen's expression, Han asked, "Are you looking forward to seeing the outside world?" "Compared to the world you have created inside here, I do not believe that anything out there could even compare. I merely look forward to being by my master's side, ready for any of his needs," Queen answered, bowing her head. Han didn't miss how she blushed before she was able to tilt her head down, trying to hide her expression. She looked adorable the way she reacted around him. So that they could all see, Han projected an image of the kingdom from an aerial view. "We are currently located here, where the red dot is shown. I'm curious to see what the nearest village looks like, so we will teleport ourselves little ways away and enter the village. To enjoy ourselves, remember not to create any disturbances that would reveal who we are, unless the situation calls for it. I guess that the people in this kingdom can't even be compared to our abilities." "Master, we shall follow your command. It would be an insult to you, our creator, for those pests to think that they could reach your perfection. They should be grateful that you would even consider walking amongst them," replied Helania. "I agree, Master," Queen added in fervently. Laughing at how serious they looked, Han quietly said, "Remember that we are doing this to enjoy ourselves. The idea of walking around this world with my bewitching creations is something I am looking forward to." He smiled at them and twitched his finger upwards, to have them come to him. Trying to hide their smiling faces, they walked over to him. Reaching out to both of them, holding their weights on either side of him, he felt the warmth of their body. Leaning his head to the nape of Queen's neck, he breathed in the womanly smell of her and kissed it tenderly. "Master, I thought we were going to the village," she cooed and shyly moved her hips to caress against him. Pulling away, Han ordered Helania, "Take us to just outside the village." Instantly, the three of them were standing on a grassy field and could see off in the distance signs of the community. Walking towards the village, they noticed that there was a wall that surrounded it. Seeing it up close, the quality of it looked relatively cheap, as if they just took a bunch of trees and after cutting off the branches, they tied them together. The bark of the tree was still on it, which seemed to be unusual considering historical pictures Han had seen before while checking out various websites. Han wondered if the period he was in was the reason, or if the village wasn't wealthy enough to afford a different wall. Looking to his left, Han noticed a path that led to an entrance that had people with weapons guarding it. From the looks of them, they looked more like militia, not part of a formally trained military. The guards just had some kind of helmet, different style on each head, and a flimsy-looking spear for both of them. "Hold it right there!" one of the guards yelled out as Han, Helania, and Queen approached them. Han tried to hold back from laughing, cause they looked ridiculous the way they were just standing there. Did they think they would be able to protect the village? He signaled for Helania and Queen to hold while they waited for the guard to approach them. "What business do you have?" the guard asked him. Han noticed the guard looking at his creations. By the guard's poorly hidden, lewd expression, Han could tell that the guard found the two attractive. He didn't care about the way the guard looked at either of them, considering he could wipe out this entire village if he wanted to, and so found the guard to be rather amusing. "My companions and I are travelers, and saw this village, and thought we should check it out. We are here out of mere curiosity." The guard considered his answer and replied, "There is a fee to enter the village, for newcomers. It will be 50 coppers for each person." Han thought it was interesting how the currency was similar to games and light novels. It made sense, those being precious metals, but just interesting how it was related to things he had read. The only problem was that Han didn't have any currency, so Han decided just to create a piece of gold. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a gold nugget. Opening up his hand, he showed the guard the gold nugget. By the guard's reaction, the amount was something he hadn't seen before. My lord, I apologize for my behavior," he stuttered, afraid that he had offended someone powerful. "You gave no offense," Han said, waving his hands to let the guard understand there was all water under the bridge. Han did wonder what this person would think if he knew what he could do if he were offended. Part of him thought about what the image of a person's spine being pulled out through the mouth would look like. Thinking it would cause too many annoyances, Han dismissed the idea. The other guard looked confused by his buddy's response, so he walked up to them to find out. Seeing the gold nugget in Han's hand, the blood drained from the other guard's face. It looked like the other guard would faint after seeing such wealth being casually presented. "Sir, I'm sorry to say that I can't provide change for the amount. So please feel free to continue to our humble village, my lord and his ladies." The guard slowly composed himself. Even though he looked like a militiaman, he seemed to have some professionalism in him. Laughing softly, Han just said, "Do not worry about change. Even with this amount, I will be fine. Divide it amongst the two of you and give it to your family, if you have any. I'm sure they would appreciate it." After placing in the guard's outstretched hands, the three of them continued to the village. "Master, you are a benevolent creator. Those cretins do not deserve your compassion," Queen whispered to him. She didn't want to draw attention to themselves, considering she understood that this was Han's wish. The interaction between those two guards did seem to bother her, so Queen felt the need to comment on it. Such insolence was something she would like to deal with, but didn't want to go against her beloved creator. "I agree, Master. You should have allowed Queen and me to wipe those insignificant creatures into oblivion," Helania concurred. Raising his hand to indicate he didn't want them to continue, Han said, "The both of you understand why we are out here. I only want to observe what it is like out here, so that kind of action could ruin my fun." "Yes, Master," both of them said, ashamed about being reprimanded and feeling like they had disappointed him.